Has a minute.
Oh, good. Hey, Thomas.
Hey, Thomas. Nice to see you again.
So just so you know, I've teased a little bit, and I actually said, "Gosh, you guys need to have this conversation with Thomas and me both in frame." And I mentioned that we had a conversation. It was kind of a fun conversation. We talked about what might happen.
Yeah.
With the, do you want to share your version of it?
Well, it's funny because I've been looking forward to this episode since it happened last year. And I mean, out of all the things that happened, it's just absolutely crazy. But time has a funny way of messing with our minds. And so watched the episode last night. It's the first time I've seen this episode. And I was trying to think, because we had the drone guys come out twice.
Yeah. And
the first one, I mean, it was relatively calm other than we started having a lot of electromagnetic and, stuff. But I remember you and I were over there, and correct me, did this conversation take place on the first exercise, or did it take place as we were setting up the second exercise?
This was, as I recall, the evening before we did this.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure because I couldn't remember.
Yeah, so we were right over there. We were standing right in that room through that door, and I want to say joking, but that's not really the frame of mind.
Wait. Where did you think we had it?
Right over there.
I remember having it at the tent out at the Triangle.
Now that's crazy.
Because I remember having Preston close by.
Yes.
And Preston was like, "Don't talk like that."
Well, you may have repeated the conversation that we
maybe that's what it was. We had it here. We were telling about. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. My memory on this stuff. It gets.
See, this is why you need both. You need both of us.
I like running things by because sometimes like it gets off. But yeah. So basically, the premise was just that Erik and I were talking and kind of half just in jest and kind of joking around. Like, we're getting awfully tired of this same old electromagnetic interference. I mean, you've messed with the phones, you've messed with computers, you've wiped memory cards. Okay, you've made the drones disconnect. Like, yeah, we get it. You can interfere with equipment. Big deal. And we're sitting here having this conversation. We're like, I'm getting tired of this. If this is the best you can do, that doesn't really impress me anymore. Like, you're going to have to up the ante to keep my attention. And Erik and I are both sitting here, and we're playing off of each other, and we're going, I mean, listen, if that's as powerful as you are, Ranch. And so then we said, if you want to get my attention, I want to see all the drones fall out of the sky.
I remember the words were flaming, sparks and fire,
total devastation, chaos.
It was a kind of a Ghostbusters-esque, delivery, cats and dogs, that sort of thing.
And if I was to characterize that conversation, I mean, look, we're blowing off steam and whatnot, but I could see that if an observer was watching that, I'd be like, that's a pretty irreverent conversation. Like, and then when we recounted it to Preston. As over there at the tent, Preston looked at us. He's like, "Don't say that." He's like,
"That's not funny."
Yep.
And he's like, "Do you know how much money's sitting out in that field?" And I said, "Nah, don't worry about it. You that's what insurance is for." And he's like, we don't want to do that." So that's how I remember.
That's their livelihood. So I'm so glad you came in when you did. Because I was teasing these guys. I said, you need to get both of us in frame, and we need to have this conversation.
I would like to hear your version of it.
So you and I had the conversation standing in front of that black couch in that room, where we were very much like what you just described, talking about reflecting on what had happened with previous experiments, of course, the telescope night and some of the other stuff. And we were describing what we pictured in our minds as drones falling out of the sky and bursting into flames. You used the term bursting into flames. I remember that. Yeah. So we had this picture of mayhem. We were constructing this story. Why would we do that? Why would we do that?
Yeah, we were framing it like, Ranch, if you want to get our attention, if you want to impress us, like this is what it would take.
Yeah.
And it came right for you, Thomas. Out of the two of you, you were the only one standing out there. And it came right
So
one came for you.
The drone with my tracker on it, and there weren't that many, flies under the tent, as I understand it. Now, I'd like to get your description of
well, they start falling, right?
Uh-huh.
And the thing is that when they started falling, that formation had come to the south, so it's like over top of the tent, and it shouldn't have done that.
Okay, so it's going the wrong way.
Right, so it comes south over the tent, and they start dropping, and so I dive, and I think you see it on the episode, like I dive under the tent, and Preston's sitting right there, and as I'm sitting there, I look up, and here's our camera guy, not even flinching. He's just got, he's got this big camera on his shoulder, and he's not missing a beat. And I see this drone start like coming down the same, and now it's the level under the tent, and it starts coming in the tent, and the camera guy's standing right there, and I realized like those blades are so sharp, if it hit his neck, it would just
Cut you.
I mean, it would just cut his neck up, maybe even cut, some serious arteries there. And like, I said his name, I said, hey, watch out. And he's just so focused on what he's doing, he doesn't even look. And I realized at that moment, like, I needed to do something. That's when I jumped back up and I took my jacket off, and then I went up to get the drone, and it was still coming down inside the tent towards us. And Preston again, like, I'm talking about total professional. He's sitting at the table. The entire time he's trying to get the drones to abort and land. And they will not respond. So Preston's trying to land these drones, and he can't get them to respond to his commands. And he's not paying attention. I told him, I'm like, Preston, these are coming in, and he didn't even flinch. He was so focused on what he did, what he was doing, that I realized these guys are focused in on their task at hand. And so when that drone came in and started coming towards the camera guy and Preston, then I took my jacket off and I swatted at it and then put the jacket on it to terminate.
I told these guys I wanted that drone. I wanted drone 108 for.
I thought they said that they'd give it to me.
I know they did. Dang it. Now, do you think it's okay if we talk about what the dollar value in?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to say anything that I shouldn't, but
I don't know why that would be off limits.
Let's put it this way: in terms of drone hardware destroyed by this event, we're talking about approaching $500,000. I think it was $475,000.
$400-something thousand
Yeah.
drone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not a stunt.
Wow.
Does insurance cover something like that for them?
We talked about that.
Their insurance, there is with Preston, those guys have insurance on their drones. The production obviously has insurance on everything that's going place. I don't know how they worked it out, but I do know.
I can imagine the insurance company being like, "No, you took it to the ranch. We don't."
Ranch.
Yeah, but if they come back with that many drones, they're probably going to impose the requirement that Thomas and I not have a conversation about the drones.
Next time, ask it to like write out a binary code or something.
Yes, rather than
ask it something else.
No. I mean, quite honestly, I think the gift would be if I'm like, if bad things are going to happen when we dig, then let's see this massive $1 million machine burst into flames while I'm digging. Like that would be something.
There you go, guys. There you go. That's the flavor of our conversation.
So, Ranch, I'm not impressed by drill rods breaking off on the hill. If you want to impress me, then by no fault of my own, we just need to see that machine burst into flames while we're digging. There you go.
I knew.
As long as you get out of it.
There's my irreverence, and I'll probably regret that.
I know. Please let us know how you're doing tomorrow after you go back out to work.
Hopefully, we're not here in a year, telling you, "Oh my gosh, can you guys believe?"
I wish I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
So let me show you this. We were talking about the video there, and I did have a little bit of it. This is where, and I don't know, is that Preston there?
Yes.
And he was telling everybody to get back.
They use some really
I'm
colorful.
glad they bleeped it.
Did they bleep it?
Well, they either cut it or they found clips of him and
Did
Tyler.
they do get in the bleep cars?
No.
Okay.
But here's how it kind of went down. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What a perspective.
So did they ever just determine what caused them to drop? Because that looks like instant power loss. I mean, that's free fall.
Yeah, it looks.
Well, there was that. So you saw on the show how they thought they were over in the East Field.
Yeah, we were getting
It's
to that
important to
point,
understand that when they set these shows up, they have three different geofences that are put in.
Right.
If the drones hit the first geofence, they get the command to go back and land.
Yep.
If they go past the second one, they get the command to land right there immediately.
Mhm.
If they hit the third geofence, it cuts the power and they drop.
Wow.
So the drones thought they were far outside
Way.
of where they were supposed to be.
But
Wow.
here's the interesting thing. So that would explain why the ones just dropped out of the sky. Is if they thought they were outside their geofence,
Mhm.
that would have issued the command to drop, right? But interestingly enough, we had several that took off and headed towards the east.
Mhm.
They went so far beyond the geofence, and they just kept flying out there, and then they eventually landed out in the field.
Mhm.
And then when the entire swarm landed back where, and they're supposed to land right back at the exact spot they took off, when the entire drone swarm finally landed, they were all shifted towards the south by, I can't remember, it was like 15 or 20 feet.
Yeah, that is a serious positional error.
Wow.
I have to say.
I'll let you get it from here.
Tom, thanks
See
for
you
coming.
guys.
I know
Yeah,
you're
Bye,
thanks,
guys.
Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
All right.